I've been detained by the Nigerian government.
Fellow Nigerians, yesterday in my video, I did make a statement that we have our enemies as our rulers. The people who are at the aim of affair ruling, piloting the affairs of the country are not those who love us. They are indirectly, literally our enemies. Now, I want to show you a video of a Binance executive. By the way, Binance is one of the biggest platforms in the world that control cryptocurrency. Okay, we people trade cryptocurrency. So now one of the executives, remember recently, some months ago, was detained in Nigeria, right? Now this guy came out to expose Nigeria, Tinubu security advisor, after Canada has denied, our chief of army staff visa. Now this guy came out to expose Nuhu Ribadu, DSS, and three of our lawmakers. They connect together to scam them $150 million and also scam the Nigerian government. In fact, Nuhu Ribadu, Tinubu security advisor, verbally told this guy that he needs the money, you understand, he needs money for his, future, election that he's going to conduct. You understand what I'm saying? Guys, this video is still loaded. If you are a patriotic Nigeria, if you are tired of the criminality of those at the helm of affair, if you are a victim of Nigeria, right, the first thing you would do to this video is to like it, is to start sharing it as much as you can. Now, when you are sharing this video, what are you doing? You are not helping me. By sharing this video, you are trying to expose the criminality of these decorated thieves we have at the end of affair. Do you understand? That's what you are doing. Like it first of all. Don't only share it to your timeline. Share it in everywhere on your platform. Send it to your friends. Share it to your WhatsApp status. Share it all the groups. This level of criminality is on Google. So the yet here, they still go and do your research. So it's not a desi. A Binance executive exposing. In fact, the guy went further to say that it is painful that we, Nigeria, we have criminals who are leading us. This is painful. Like this video and please share it.
I've been detained by the Nigerian government.
The exclusive revelation by Binance executive Tigran Gambaryan about his ordeal in Nigeria. He was detained for several months. He was even charged to court. The summary of his story is that Nigerian government officials were involved in a grand scheme to scam Binance of millions of dollars. And the worst part was that if the scam eventually worked, that's if Binance paid that money to them, it wouldn't have gone to the accounts of Nigerian government. It would have gone into private accounts. So effectively, it was a grand 419 involving the executive branch and the legislative branch, even to some extent the judicial branch, because he was eventually charged to court. And you know how litigations play out in Nigeria, especially when it involves the government and a criminal matter. And the most shocking part of what he wrote on his verified X handle and the one published by Wired.com is the fact that the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, made it clear to him that he needs these funds, these billions, to prepare for his political ambition. Whether it is presidency or governorship, he has contested both of them. But before we continue, why should we trust Tigran Gambaryan? Going by his story, you can see that he's pained. He's sad. Who wouldn't be about his ordeal? Anyone who goes through this kind of thing must be very bitter. He must be trying to find ways to get vengeance against the people that put him in such an ordeal. So if he is bitter and seeking vengeance against the people that put him in this hellish ordeal in Nigeria, he might just say anything against them. After all, it is his word against them. There is no definite proof. But when you look at how everything played out, you will see that there is more likelihood that he is telling the truth, because they were actually invited to Nigeria by the NSA, who represents the Nigerian government. The agenda was to discuss on how to expand their services and to make it easier for the government to identify people who are fraudulent, who are trying to manipulate the exchange rate and many other issues. So the Binance management jumped at the opportunity to directly engage with the Nigerian government. They saw it as an opportunity they must seize to expand into the Nigerian market. But the promising opportunity to expand into Nigerian market quickly turned into a nightmare for the two executives of Binance who came to Abuja. It immediately became a hostage situation because they were told that the government will never release them except they paid money. So you can see their original intention was to obtain money from Binance. Of course, they didn't tell them, because if they did, they wouldn't bother flying to Nigeria. And if they had this intention and the motive to obtain money from them, that means Tigran's story is much more likely to be true. If they had the intention of obtaining money from them, they would go to any length, because they fabricated the story about expanding into the Nigerian market and everything just to lure them to Nigeria. Just like scammers set up catfish accounts to lure potential victims before scamming them. Now, let's see more details about Tigran's revelation. According to him, state security operatives told them to endeavor to cooperate with the House of Rep members when they meet them, that it is very important that they do whatever they are told to do. So why were SSS operatives involved in the whole saga? They wouldn't have worked alone. They must have gotten permission or orders from their superiors, and their superiors ultimately got orders from the presidency. Yes, even if they committed a financial crime against Nigeria, EFCC should be able to handle that. Let's even assume that they were ordered to get into the investigation and take charge so as to report to the presidency directly or whatever happened. So you can understand that the presidency was aware that these guys were being set up in a grand scheme to extort them. Otherwise, why would the SSS operatives tell them to cooperate with the House of Rep members? And during the meeting with the House of Rep members, this time around, he named the House of Rep members. Remember when this was revealed at the time by the Binance CEO himself, when he granted an interview saying that they are not going to pay a dime to the Nigerian government without knowing if it is a fine. Whatever law they broke in Nigeria, it needs to be spelled out. Even if there is an infraction with SEC, the SEC should be able to come up with what they broke, what regulation they violated, and the corresponding fine should be defined. Just like when banks violate CBN regulations, they normally have fines for every regulation. So it means that you can't just come up with a blanket fine of maybe $150 million or $1 billion for any infraction of the regulation. Anyway, according to Tigran, during the meeting with the House of Rep members, they tried hard to make the meeting look official. They set up cameras, but they noticed that the cameras were not even powered. So eventually they demanded $150 million from Binance, and it should be paid into their personal crypto wallets, not even into the Nigerian treasury. Just like how the EU or the US government issues a fine to a company like Google, for instance, or Microsoft, the money is normally paid into the account of the government, not personal account. So it was a grand scheme by all the people involved to scam Binance of $150 million. The names of the three House of Rep members that negotiated directly with Tigran and his colleague are Peter Apanke, Philip Abese, and Ginger Obinna Onwusibe. These guys were the ones that made the offer directly to Tigran and his colleague to transfer $150 million directly to their personal crypto wallets, not the Nigerian treasury. These are heavy allegations. These House members are supposed to be granting interviews by this time, denying it or telling Nigerians exactly what happened. Did they really try to use their office to obtain bribes from Binance executives? This is illegal in all sense. But of course, we know that from the top, all of them were involved in the whole scheme. So who is going to question them now? The EFCC were involved in inviting these people to Nigeria. Are they the ones that are going to investigate the House members now? Or are the state security operatives that were also involved in the whole scheme going to question these House members?
In the case of Binance, in the last 1 year alone, 26 billion US dollars has passed through Binance Nigeria from sources and users who we cannot adequately identify.
Anyway, let's see more details about Tigran's revelation. He debunked the $26 billion touted by the government at the time as money that subscribers of Binance wired out of Nigeria. Tigran said no, this amount of money stands for the total value of all transactions. That's if you buy $100 worth of crypto or USDT, whatever you call it, and you sell the same amount of money, it equals $200. All the transactions that took place within the platform at the time, everything amounted to $26 billion. You know, the government tried to divert attention for those who are not aware of the whole story. They claimed at the time that Binance was responsible for the falling of the Naira, despite the fact that everyone was aware that the floating of Naira caused the sudden drop in value against the dollar at the time. But the government, seeking a way out of the whole issue, started blaming Binance for being responsible. That was why they manufactured that story and lured them to Nigeria, and they wanted to extort them of $150 million. And like the saying goes, if one continues telling a lie for a very long time, at the time that lie will start looking as the truth. Despite the government knowing that Binance wasn't responsible, they still wanted to have the list of their subscribers. Yes, and according to Tigran, they wanted to use it to target the opposition. If they had gotten the list of their subscribers, they would have used it to target and intimidate the opposition members. Now, let's see what Tigran said about Ribadu. Quote, Ribadu emphasized that he wanted billions in payouts to fund his future political ambition. However, when the corruption scandal came to light, he was trapped because any settlement would now be perceived as a bribe. I guess he really wanted his boss's job. Ribadu even hired a US law firm to negotiate my release, but this failed due to their incompetence and greed. Looking at you, Idayat Hassan, Ribadu overstepped his authority and embarrassed Nigeria in front of US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. Ribadu, acting like an AS, angered the White House and led to diplomatic repercussions. The US limited visas to the Nigerian delegation for UN General Assembly, and Biden refused to meet with Tinubu until my situation was resolved. In the end, Ribadu overestimated his influence. They thought they could secure a quick win, but instead, they created an international incident, exposing his incompetence on a global scale. That's it for me for now. I don't want to dwell on this, but it's important for Nigerians to get the facts. I met amazing people in Nigeria. It's a shame that these muppets are in charge, unquote. This is how they continue demarketing Nigeria in the international community, and they wonder why no one is coming here, no one trusts them, no one is going to invest billions of dollars in this kind of situation where they can't even trust the government, they can't trust the system, there is no rule of law, there is nothing. And they will turn around and shut down the opposition and be blaming them for demarketing Nigeria when they are the chief demarketers of this country. And if you're not ashamed about his last sentence, he made it clear that he met many amazing Nigerians, but unfortunately the worst of us continue to lead the best of us. Nigerians need to take politics seriously. We need to make sure that the best of us will lead us going forward. Like already said, these are heavy allegations, especially to the person of the NSA, Nuhu Ribadu. He needs to grant an interview, either deny it like they normally do, or at least tell Nigerians exactly what happened during the Binance saga. Thanks for watching.